everyone, this is Blake Hackbarth with Recruitment Hockey. I'm coming at you with a video today. Just going to kind of, I don't know how to call it, but maybe ramble, maybe rant a little bit about something that I hold near and dear to me, and it makes me sick when I don't see it in the modern world, even though I should come to expect it at this point, I guess. In the background, I'm just voicing over a video that I did a couple days ago. If you're interested in checking that out, it's a skating tutorial, and it's on my channel, so feel free to head over to that video after this one and check it out. So what I want to talk about today is simple, and it's respect. It's something that I see that lacks in the hockey world and just the world in general. But, I deal with a lot of kids from the ages of, learn to play 5 years old to junior level players, and even some pro players. And obviously there's more good people in the world than there are bad people, but it really stands out when you do see a lack of respect. And so today I'm going to go through just a couple of different things that scouts and teams are looking for in players, and if you don't have respect and you lack that, it's going to be really tough to get noticed by higher levels, no matter how good you are. Right? There's a lot of similarly skilled players to you, and unless you're the next Sidney Crosby, you better not lack respect. And I think you can kind of see that in the hockey world. What was it, 2 drafts ago with the guy like Mitch Miller, great athlete, probably a first round pick if he doesn't get passed up by everybody in the first round because of what he did in the past, and his hockey career is up in the air right now. So we won't get into that, but just using that as an example. So the first thing I want to talk about is players to parents. All right. I grew up in a house where I didn't disrespect my parents because I knew I was going to reap the rewards of a not so good outcome. I don't know how to say that. I grew up, my parents, they made sure that I was always respectful to not only them, but also my teachers, coaches, anybody that was an authoritative figure to me, and obviously my peers as well. And if I didn't do that, I knew not to do that. So I don't want to get into that, but players to parents. Like I said, I work with so many different kids on a daily basis, and all the different age groups and ages and levels and talents and everything. So when I hear kids in lobbies or locker rooms disrespecting their parents, it strikes a nerve with me. And I'm not going to get into how parents should parent their kids, because that's their prerogative. But if you want to be disrespectful to your parents and the wrong person's watching you at the wrong time, you're getting crossed off a list. I don't care where you are. Something I always recommend to players that talk to me and how to get noticed: hug your parents after a hockey game. You're in the lobby and at a showcase, go hug your parents. Show that you care about the person that probably paid all the money for you to travel there, play there. They're probably taking off of work to come and watch you play. Show some respect. And I mean, it just comes down to that. And hearing kids, and we all get frustrated, and hockey's a highly compete sport, and it's tough to always be hunky-dory, but don't take it out on the people that mean the most to you. Like I always say to people, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Your parents are probably feeding you, and you don't want to, and they're feeding you your hockey career. So it's they should just never feel disrespected, especially in a hockey arena. And I see it far too often, and you can probably hear it in my voice how frustrated it really truly makes me, because I preach to these kids respect every day. Respect your facilities, respect your teammates, respect your coaches, respect your teachers, everything. And so when I hear that disrespect to parents, it's kind of like the top of the food chain, right? Your parents are number one, everybody else comes number two, and so that's really hard for me to withstand. All right, sorry, I had to pause the video there, change over to a different video. Here's me doing some shooting and stick handling work. So back to respect. So obviously respect the parents. They're the top of the food chain, right? Showing them the utmost respect for the sacrifices that they make for you. It should just be a no-brainer, but for whatever reason it isn't. And at the same time, parents, don't be afraid to, you know, make children respect you. I don't think anybody's going to be really upset if a kid wants to pipe off to you and you want to pipe off back because, you know, you're their authoritative figure. So be it. If anybody gives you a hard time for that, just know that there's a lot of people that will not care and understand that the children probably deserve it, especially if you're around them for as often as we all are in the coaching world and the parenting world. All right, so that's respect to your parents. Should go without saying. Respect your elders, respect your parents, respect your guardians, whatever, you know, your dynamic is. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. They do a lot for you, and that should be they should have the utmost respect no matter what. All right. So then we go to players to coaches. And I see this more predominantly in like the junior ranks when kids are getting recruited. I hate hearing kids tell me that they're too good for a league or they're too good for a coach. Because for one, if a coach reaches out to you and you think you're above their league, that's totally fine. But that's where that coach is at that point in their career. And maybe that's where they want to be. All right. And so when we talk about disrespecting coaches, it's, you know, that's their livelihood. And so if you're getting recruited by a team that you don't think is up to your standards for whatever reason you have them, the least you can do is hear them out, listen to what they have to say, and you'll make an ally. You never know where this coach is going to be next year. And if you're short with them in that moment, what makes you think that a year from now or 2 years from now, when they're the assistant coach on a Division I program, that they're going to take a second look at you if you didn't give them the time of day when they needed you and now you need them? And so, I mean, like I said, I get it. Like, we all think that we're destined for great things, right? And we might think we're better than we are, or maybe we just don't have interest in certain teams or coaches, and that's fine. But I get all the time, coaches are like, yeah, this kid, he just blew me off. Like, I wasn't worth the 5-minute phone call, and I wasn't worth a text back to tell me that they wanted to pursue other ventures. All right, show some respect. Those guys that's their livelihood. They're putting a lot on the line. They take a lot of time away from their families. And so I think it's just super important that even if you're not interested, that's totally fine. Just understand that just because you don't need them at that point, you might need them down the line, and make a friend, make an ally. I haven't met a whole lot of really nasty coaches, and if you treat them the right way, and all hockey guys are, you know, one and the same typically, you're gonna get more out of that relationship than if you blow them off instantly. So that's respect to coaches, especially at the junior level. All right, we can get into the disrespect on, you know, the ice or the bench, but I mean, that happens everywhere. And like I said, hockey's a hot-headed sport, and sometimes tempers boil over, and I don't, you know, read too far into that unless it's a consistent problem. All right, so that's respect to coaches. Respect to facilities. Oh gosh. Clean your room, and I think that's where that starts. Respect to facilities. If you're not the owner, clean up after yourself. All right. If you shoot somebody's pucks, clean up the pucks. If you use their ice, don't spit on their windows, or don't spit on their floor. Spit on their glass, I guess I should say. Right? I get spitting on the ice, it's a different thing. It gets Zambonied up, but there's all these little things, and you see it all the time. And there's even a trend on the internet right now of stealing from school bathrooms and things like that. And I haven't seen it too often, besides the little things like not picking up after yourself or leaving a candy wrapper on the floor. But, you know, that's another thing that when you're trying to get recruited and you're trying to get scouted, and a coach walks into your locker room after a game, I've seen it happen, and there's tape everywhere and bottles everywhere, you're done. You're crossed off the list. I don't care. All right, you're not good enough to not clean up after yourself. There's plenty of similarly talented players that are cleaning up after themselves and doing the right things and being polite and respecting facilities for you to think that you're too good to clean up after yourself and do those things. So that's respect to facilities. All right, so far we got respect to parents, obvious. Respect to coaches, should be obvious. And respect to facilities, it's something that just clean up after yourself, right? Pick up a tape ball. You leave a locker room, pick up somebody else's bottle, pick up 3 pieces of trash. Everybody pick up 3 pieces of trash. And then obviously I hope it doesn't happen, but I know it does. But don't be destroying the sink or, knocking down their paper towel dispensers, right? That should go without saying, but for whatever reason, we have to constantly reiterate the fact to players here. I just noticed that video quit playing, so now we're up to I believe it's a 1, 2, 2, 4 check. So if you like that video, it's on my channel. Feel free to check it out. So we just got done talking about respect to facilities. All right. A player respecting their team, right? Their teammates, their organization. And I think, I could probably lump this in with parents too. Players and parents respecting their team. All right. If your mother is going on Facebook and belittling the coach and the organization, probably not a good idea. All right. People read that and nobody wants to deal with you. There's a lot of similarly talented players that don't bring any drama and they respect the person that is, coaching your child. Obviously, if there's a super sinister ordeal going on within an organization, different story, right? And I get, unfortunately, that those type of things happen. But if you're mad about playing time or things that are mundane and in the long run of things, don't make your child look like a jackwagon. All right, nobody wants the drama, especially in a hockey locker room. This isn't basketball. Don't cause problems that don't need to be there. If you have a problem with the coach or whatever he's doing, it doesn't matter. All right, let the player take care of it. Players need to be comfortable with talking to their coaches when they have problems because, correct me if I'm wrong, parents don't go into Jeff Bezos' office at Amazon and ask for their kid to get a promotion. Right? The point I'm trying to make is that let them go. Let them understand that they have to fight for themselves at some point. So me speaking parents to players. So letting your kid, grow the tenacity in order to do something that's uncomfortable. Going up to your coach and saying, "Hey, coach, I think I've been practicing well, and I think I deserve some more minutes on the second power play." Right? That's something that coaches are going to respect. Teams are going to respect you for that. All right? Your mom, Susan, going off on Facebook about a former NHL hockey player saying how he doesn't know anything about the sport is just foolish and is childish and a waste of time because now the kid's definitely not getting on the power play. All right, so just using that example, respect from the parents and players to the team, and I think that goes the same way. Especially coaching youth hockey, I hear, "Oh, well, this kid doesn't do that," or "This kid made that team." You worry about your own kid. You worry about your own family. If you don't like that they made a team and your kid didn't, that's the decision maker's prerogative. If you don't like that you didn't make that team, send the player, whether they're 8 years old or 18 years old, to talk to the coach and figure it out why they make that team. And I promise you they will give an answer, and it will be an honest answer. So respecting, obviously, your players on the team, your teammates, and then obviously the organization as a whole. I don't know many people that are in the hockey industry that don't truly love helping the youth. So I don't think that they're trying to screw over many kids, contrary to popular belief. It's the same thing. Like I always tell my parents back home, if you talk to a ref, you're gone, right? I don't talk to refs unless it's really egregious. So it takes away from what we're trying to accomplish, and that's developing better humans, scholars, athletes, and just making those sly remarks. If you really think that a 15-year-old reffing a squirt game at 8:30 in the morning is trying to fix it for the other team, you need to get a life. Right? I promise you that 15-year-old has no dogs in the fight, and it is a squirt hockey game, and they are out there to become better humans, scholars, athletes. And I don't know how to say it, but it's not at the squirt level, at least in my opinion. It's probably an unpopular opinion, but it's not my job as a grown adult to coach to win squirt hockey games. I'm never going to shorten the bench on a 10-year-old or whatever they are, 9, 10-year-old. Right. So it's, of course, you want the kids to be able to win and want to fight for something that they work hard for. But it's not I'm 23, but it's not a 35-year-old dad's job in order to make a 10-year-old feel bad about themselves, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I'm rambling. That got kind of further away from the players and parents, the team, but that's how I go sometimes. I just like talking. All right, so that kind of wraps up players, parents to team, and I had coach on my list, but players and parents to coach as well. Get into this next one here. It's parents to parents, and I kind of briefly touched on it, but if I ever have to hear a parent tell me that their kid is better than another kid, or their parent is doing this before a game, or their parent lets their kid do this, I'm going to lose my mind. I do not care one bit what little Bobby's parents let little Jimmy's parents do. I don't care. It has no effect on my well-being. Coming on to another video, so just change the background once again. So like I was saying, it hasn't. Parents, I don't care what another parent lets their kid do. It's not my problem. I worry about what my family does, and that's about it. And of course, from a hockey standpoint and a coaching standpoint, of course, I want to make sure the kid's in a healthy home, right? We're trained to do that, and make sure that kids are able to live their lives to the fullest, right? So if it's something that egregious, something that terrible, then of course we'll step in and want to hear those things. But if you're just mad because little Jimmy made the team and your little Bobby didn't make the team, okay, that's fine. Let's work on this, and let's hopefully you make the team next time. I don't care if that kid made the team or not. So the reason I say that parents to parents disrespect and parents to parents need to respect each other is because hockey is such a tight-knit family, right? And I get brothers and sisters fight if you want to look at it that way, but there's it's weird. Like it's odd. We got to worry about ourselves, right? And unless it's a truly horrible problem that we're having, it's not your business. Right, you parent little Bobby, and they'll parent little Jimmy, and so I hear it all the time, and I hear it in different lobbies and things like that. It's stop being a problem. Just go and watch your child play hockey. I don't get it. Like if you're paying oftentimes thousands of dollars to travel, in team fees, enjoy the time with your kid. I know, at least from my personal experience, I grew up in a hockey family. Well, I was a hockey player, and my brother wasn't a hockey player, but that's okay. And my two little sisters also aren't hockey players, and I come from a separated house, and so some of my absolute greatest memories are just with my dad sitting in the car driving all over the state of Wisconsin, and even for baseball, driving all over the country because I played travel baseball. And my dad never talked about anything that I was doing wrong. It was always just, hey, this is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed watching you play hockey today. And maybe that's just me, but I feel like that's how it should be. Enjoy the time with your children, because you only get so much of it. And even me as a child now grown up, it's I miss those times with my parents so much, just sitting in the car just talking. And it was never just, it was just good times. It was just good conversation, I guess. And I think it helped grow me closer to my parents. And so I genuinely do miss those times, and I would give anything to have them back. And so how I tie this back in is, parents, don't worry about all the outside noise. Don't worry about what's going on. If your kid's meant to play in the NHL, he's going to play in the NHL. If he's 10, let him be a 10-year-old. And that's coming from somebody that develops players and pushes them onto higher levels. I don't care that your kid is scoring 60 goals a year at a scored AAA season. He's a kid. I got a lot of time before I need to make the decision if he's good enough to move on to the next level or not. And a lot of times, once puberty hits, then I know what kind of person they're going to turn out to be. And again, there's a lot of similarly talented players, and I'll take the one that's nicer, politer, and less of a problem. All right. And so, parents to parents, respect each other. You're there to watch your children play hockey. Hockey is fun. Watching your children have fun should be fun to you. And I just listen. All right. I think I'm close enough to that age, is that don't be so hard on your kids. And call me soft all you want, but if they're having fun playing hockey, don't berate them after a squared hockey game. They're going to get better at hockey, and just the fact that you're able to spend time with them is what should matter. And of course, we want them to play well and we want them to succeed, but don't make them hate the sport that they should love. So, I mean, just those, I hear it all the time, those bad car rides is tough to kind of hear. And I mean, that comes from me, who luckily I didn't really have many bad car rides with my parents. And when I did, I probably deserved it, because I probably wasn't a bad game. It was probably something else I did dumb. All right, so parents to parent respect. Last one here, consequences for actions. So I used the Jeff Bezos example earlier. Consequences for actions. So I don't want, how do I say it? Parents obviously need to parent their kids, but in a setting like a hockey rink, right? In those hours where the coach is in charge, that's time for them to be in charge, right? You're trusting the coach with your child to make them into a better human scholar athlete. That's what they're there for, right? Of course, I want to develop every single hockey player I come across to the NHL, and I want them to make millions of dollars, and I want them to win 10 Stanley Cups. Yes, that is the ultimate goal. But that is the ultimate hockey goal, but my ultimate goal is to create better human scholars, athletes. All right. And if there aren't consequences for bad actions in not just hockey, but life itself, I'd rather them figure that out with me at a young age than going into said Jeff Bezos' office and getting reamed by him for a bad effort or whatever. All right. The world is a lot less forgiving than the youth sports world, right? You can get away with making mistakes as a kid, but when you become an adult, there's not that much leeway. So I think establishing consequences for being a jerk or being disrespectful or, not listening or screwing up a drill 10 times in a row because you were staring off into the stars, having those consequences there are a lot better than having a family of 4 and getting fired from your job because you showed up late too many times, right? So I think here, oh, you're being too hard on the kids, or you're being too harsh and this and that. Who do you think they're gonna thank someday? The guy that let them skate through life, no pun intended, or the guy that held their feet to the fire when they screwed something up, right? And I know we don't always like to hear it, and it does cross a line occasionally if it gets to a certain point with some coaches, but there needs to be consequences for actions, and I get parents don't want somebody else, quote unquote, parenting their kid, even for an hour, right? They want to do it all themselves, and I get that. But Jeff Bezos, again, here he is. He doesn't care what your story is. He wants the best employees to do the best work, or he'll find somebody else that's going to make him more money, right? And so that's why I think establishing from a young age consequences for actions. You show up late, there's a consequence for that. You screw up a drill 10 times in a row, there's a consequence for that, without asking a question, I should say. You get a bad grade, there's a consequence for that. And if you don't like the consequences, then don't do the action, right? Don't like the crime, or can't do the time, don't do the crime. Simple, right? And so let coaches do their job. That's what they're there for. That's either what they're volunteering to do or they're getting paid to do. And there's a lot more volunteer coaches than there are paid coaches. And so that, remember that, all right? Obviously, we never want a coach to cross the line, and I highly doubt many of them do, but some of them do, right? But if you think they're being too hard on your kid, who do you think cares about him more? The guy that just lets him get away with everything, or the guy that makes them work for everything and do it accordingly? Probably the guy that's making them constantly become better humans, scholars, athletes. And I'm looking at my list right now, and I think that's it. So remember, just to kind of recap: players to parents, respect your own parents. Players to coaches, especially at the junior ranks, respect the coaches. You don't know where they're going to be a year from now. They don't know where you're going to be a year from now. And you better not close that door if you don't need to. Don't burn that bridge, because they have a lot of more pull in the industry than you think, and they talk to each other a lot. Don't burn those bridges. And I can attest to that, because I get bridges burned with me all the time. Players to facility. Respect the facility. If it's not yours, don't destroy it. Should go without saying, but like I said, there's that trend going on right now where we're destroying school bathrooms for whatever reason. Players to team. Obviously, respecting your teammates, coaches, organization. Parents to team, coaches, organization, same thing. Just don't be a jerk. Don't be a problem if you don't have to be a problem, I guess. Parents to parents, worry about your own kid, not what somebody else's kid is. All right. Unless there's something that needs to be reported to the police that a parent is doing to their child, it is not your problem. All right. Love raising your kid. Let them love the game of hockey. Let them love life. All right. Respect. It's that simple. And then obviously, we just talked about consequences for actions. There's got to be a reason for a child not to continue bad actions, all right? So that's where the consequence comes in. With all that being said, I think that was an awesome video, honestly. Stuttered on my words here and there, and didn't always formulate a particularly good sentence, but I think I got the point across that I wanted to make on just about every point. So if you have stuck around for the last 28 minutes and 55 seconds, I am greatly appreciative of you. Please continue to like, comment, share, subscribe, and yeah, let's keep growing this thing. I'm having a lot of fun, and it's been I mean recruitment hockey is my dream, and so the more players I can connect with, the more people I can help, the more families I can help, is just amazing. And so when people do like, comment, share, and subscribe, it ultimately ends up in somebody else's hands, and maybe they need my help more than you did. But so it's truly awesome when you guys do that. With all that being said, my name is Blake Hackbarth, owner of Recruitment Hockey. This has been another video from yours truly, and I appreciate you if you stuck all the way to the end of this video.